And so, my dear ones, welcome. Welcome into the sanctuary today. It's good to be in your company. And if anybody has joined us since the beginning and anybody happens to find us for the first time, we're delighted to be in your company and to have your presence along with us. And although, there are very few of us here, 8 of us at the most, the room is full. It's full of the energy of 75 years of open receptivity to a higher conscious awareness of being and your beautiful essence and presence too. So it's good to be in your company. And today we're looking at our spiritual perspective and tuning into that and just seeing how we're doing there, because perspective is so important. It's how we perceive things, it's how we see things, it's how we, respond in life and living through the perceptors that we are. And we want to be able to see clearly and hear clearly and respond clearly so that we can indeed be all the time on purpose, whatever your purpose is as far as demonstrating your beauty and your grace and the bringing of your gift to this plane for which you came, and knowing that it doesn't matter how we think or feel when we know that always at the center core of our being, there is that stability, that core essence that is always in pristine condition, and that is our truth. That is who and what we are. We're not our thinking, we're not we're feeling, and thank God we're not our behaviors either. We're just not that. These are temporary, incapacitating things that will pass. They're temporary lapses in memory. They're temporary, sidetracks. But once we know only one time in this lifetime, and we felt one time in this lifetime, that power and that presence that is indescribable and inexplicable, we know we can always come back to it, because once I've experienced something once, I can always do it again and again and again. And you can and I can. So, this week, we're looking at our perspective and how we see life and living. Is it according to our feelings? Is it according to our opinions? Is it according to all the things that are out there in the outer world? Is there any understanding and feeling of that inner guidance in all that we are perceiving? That core beingness of ourselves, because that's what we want to keep our eye on. We want to do that. And this is all about, our teaching is all about assisting ourselves and each other to rise up in conscious awareness of the true essence of our being, and to understand a bit more deeply and fully with every passing day that there is that power for good in the universe, greater than you are, greater than I am, and we have that at our disposal, and we get to use it as it uses us. That's the conduit. This power, this presence, this infinite beingness, this pure consciousness, available to you and to me, as Ernest Holmes has stated, who is the founder of Science of Mind and Spirit, and a very amazing individual. And so, how can you and I do that if all of the time we're caught up in the busyment of the embodiment, if we're rushing here and rushing there, and we're back there in our thinking and we're over there in our thinking, and we're very seldom here and now present to what's going on in our minds, in our emotions, in who and what we are? Sometimes when people ask me how I am, I think I really don't know. I haven't had time to look in at myself and see, I'm doing, I'm going, I'm being, and all of that. And then I smile to myself and I say, pull back, breathe deeply, take some time out, and just settle into that moreness of your being. Settle into the moreness of your being and know this is not about the racing little egoic, individualized expression of this body, because that's the small part of me. It's about the truth of me that came here deliberately and purposely with a particular idea in mind and purpose that I chose to come in and fulfill, you see. And that purpose was whatever I came in with, that gift, to put on that table of life, to enhance it and to enrich it and to expand it and to keep it rising up in conscious awareness. Because life is all about consciousness. And Bernice, our practitioner today, has pointed out some of the work of David Hawkins, an incredible individual who journeyed through his whole life endeavoring to find the true core essence of his being, and consequently in all being, because once you find it in yourself, you see it everywhere and you experience it everywhere, and all is well, no matter what the appearances are. So our organization is here to assist all humanity, beginning with ourselves, of course, because we have to have clear vessels to be able to do the work that we're here to do, but to find themselves and to discover the splendor of their own spiritual beingness. That's what we're here in this community to accomplish. And so it's no small task, but we know that it's not ourselves that are doing this. We're just the conduits. Oh, I had a little bottle of water, but it isn't here now. And as you know, those of you are with me for many years, I have Freddie the frog that visits me constantly. And it's to keep me humble, I think. I think everything in life like this, thank you, keeps us humble and lets us understand that we do need that inner power, that inner presence. So fear not. This is something that's just a friend of mine that wants to accompany me until it doesn't. So, getting to that center point of understanding and knowing that I am here as an ambassador of a very great good thing is our job to begin with, and then the way is made straightforward for you and for me to actually complete what we're here to complete. And you and I all signed up to come in at this time, to do what we could do, to bring about this transition that we are going through at the moment. We're cusping now. The world is cusping. Everything is changing. And within that changing that's happening is the opportunity for us to move forward into a whole new experience of life and living, and to start living from a new paradigm of higher conscious awareness of being. That's what this is about. Now, yes, we may look out into the world and find all kinds of turbulence and truculence and so on. That could frighten us. But you see, it's just part of the birth process. Ask any mother who produces a baby and she'll tell you she didn't do it without a pain and an ache, I can tell you that. But that was lost and forgotten when she held that beautiful new being in her arms. That was forgotten. And they will tell you the price was well worth it. And so, my dear ones, for you and for me, when we're going through our own crises, and sometimes we do, because again, that's the opportunity for us to be in that cusp and move out of that into the next level of our higher experience, you see. And so if you wonder why saints and scholars and everybody else who takes on their purpose very seriously talk about the dark night of the soul, that's what it is. It's birth pangs getting ready to go through the grief and the pain of it into a higher conscious awareness. And that's always going to be with us until we really ascend into that state of avatar, where it's not so turbulent and truculent anymore when we expand and expand and expand. I mean, anybody in a working out program will tell you they have to push themselves and stretch themselves and do it when they don't feel like doing it and so on, you see. That just seems to be the nature of a human being on planet Earth, which is a three-dimensional planet, which is pretty darn dense, actually, compared to in my Father's house. There are many mansions. There are endless, endless dimensions. But that doesn't mean that we're going like this hierarchically. We're not. There's no such thing as a hierarchy. There's this. There's the circle, and there's the center of the circle, and there are beings, all of us are beings, are oscillating all the time in that circle, and sometimes we're moving toward the center, sometimes we're moving away from the center, sometimes we're all over the place, and so on and so forth. But we're still in the center of all that power and grace and amazing consciousness. We're still in it. But all of us are endeavoring to get to the eye of the storm so we can be totally surrendered and become the avatar. Now, I just love the work of David R. Hawkins. I mean, he's amazing in what he has succeeded and achieved in his lifetime, this lifetime. And he was able to, after years and years of study, to calibrate levels of consciousness that start from 1 to 1,000. At 1, you're about only crawling out of the understanding that you're not the hub of the universe into avatarhood at 1,000. And so we operate at various degrees in this equation. And we can go forward, but we can find ourselves back again. It's like the circle. Just remember the circle. The center can pull us in, but something else can take us out. But nevertheless, we don't lose the progress we have made, not at all. But all we know is that sooner or later we're going to be fixing that center, and we're getting there, and we have all the time and eternity. This is just a drop in the bucket, our lifetime on planet. It doesn't matter how long you live, it's a drop in the eternal bucket. But you're living your eternal life now, and so am I. I mean, that's exciting, really. And so there's so much in this. I would love to share it all, but I can't. We'd have to do that in a class, and even a class would be not sufficient. But it goes at 200. If you reach 200, we're in the safe zone. We're in the safe zone. We're out of all of the nonsense from 1 to 200. In the 1 to 200, there is the greed, there is the selfishness, there's the lying, the cheating, the thieving, and all of that in that center. But apparently now, it seems, we've moved into, as a whole global community, we've moved into the 200 and kind of beyond it. That's where we are. That's why Teilhard de Chardin said, as far as civilization is concerned, mankind has just put his foot on the first rung of the ladder of civilization. I think we've pushed that a little bit more now since we're in the 200s, and the 200s is considered good. That's the 51% where you're filling up the glass and not emptying the glass below 200. So if we're below 200, we're emptying the glass. If we're above 200, and he's talking about vibrational energy, the way he calibrates. He calibrates energy. And so when you get to 1,000, you're at avatar. And 700 is phenomenal. And believe it or not, he discovered that Mother Teresa was a 700, which doesn't surprise me at all. It's a fantastic book, and I recommend it. You can get it. It's Force to Power. Force to Power. And he says, the way we need to live our lives is empowerment, not that which is forced upon us or we are forcing ourselves. Because force cannot be sustained or maintained. Power, however, is always with us and available to us. There's a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it, as the teaching goes. So within the teaching, we have many tools to help and assist us, And it just simply begins, number one, as has been stated, with the desire to be better, to be our true selves, our own true self, to be all that we can be, to be more, the moreness of ourselves, the greatness of ourselves. the excellence of ourselves, which is already available to us from within us. But the ego can keep us stopped and blocked, and the ego is very human indeed. And our humanity is a beautiful, beautiful part of us, but it's not supposed to rule us. And it does, most of the time, most people. So the idea is to get our ego in balance, to put it into perspective and have it in balance, so that we can be integrated. We can integrate the human and the divine within ourselves, and consequently be absolutely certain, sure, as a consequence of leaving our gift on the table and then advancing on to our next project, so to speak. So it's exciting for you and for me to be called this week to look at what the hey is going on in our consciousness, because it's producing our life's experiences. That's why. And so we can heal ourselves of any ailment, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever, by focusing on keeping our consciousness high, keeping it 51% and rising. 51% and rising. And 51% would be the 200 plus. So that we can get, into the 400s and the 500s and the 600s and the 700s until eventually we reach the 1,000 mark. And it is an amazing thing that somebody like a Mother Teresa at 700, he tells us, can counteract something like 97 million people operating below 200. It only takes the few to keep it all together. And without those few, we would implode upon ourselves. There's no doubt about it. So I just am very, very grateful that through all the mess that we can see out there, there are enough on the planet of people who are able to keep it all together and prevent us from imploding, destroying ourselves. And so it's very exciting, really, when you take on your spiritual life as a serious endeavor, but not as a chore, not as something that I've got to do. Oh my God, I better go and pray now, or whatever it is. I can remember when I was a young novice in the convent, on a Sunday, we had extra spiritual activity, and one of them was to recite the Office of the Dead. Well, of course, now, to me, that would be silly because I don't see anybody as dead. There is no death, there's change. But anyway, and I used to hear us as youngsters saying, oh, it's great, I have already got my office in today, the reciting of the Office for the Dead. It was like a chore you checked off your list. It was something you had to do, kind of thing. It wasn't, goody, I get to do this now, that's what it ought to be when it comes to our spiritual life and living. It should feel like, oh, good, now I get to take care of myself. Now I get to have a spiritual spa, you see, when I want to go into a higher conscious awareness, like that. And even when you're on your last leg, sometimes, when you're on your last leg and you say to yourself, I know I should do my exercises. I know I should go to the gym. I know I should get up on that thing. I know I should work out. And we're just so draggy about it. But yet, when we manage to do even a little of that, we feel the benefit of it, don't we? Well, if you don't know about that, don't take my word for it. Just test it out. So next time you're feeling, oh God, all I want to do is sit down and rest, lie down and sleep or whatever, just drag yourself over to what I call the horse. Get up on it and just slowly start out. You'll be amazed. You'll amaze yourself. And remember, you're the only one you ever have to amaze. Don't try and amaze anybody else. You can't. But you could amaze yourself. So be of good cheer and know that no matter what your body's telling you, no matter what your mind's telling you, no matter what your feeling is telling you, there's a you beyond all of that. And if you would listen to that you that's beyond all of that, you'd be amazed at what you would hear. I love the word amazed because it's great when we amaze ourselves. Oh, it's easy to be amazed by other things and other people. But when you amaze yourself, oh, it's a real high. It really is. So that's where we need to be in our spiritual life, because that's why we're in spiritual life. That's why we're committed to a spiritual life, so that we can be all that we are here to be and signed up to be. I'll go, put me on the front line, I'll go, you see. And so whatever that is that stops you and blocks you, or stops me and blocks me, that we need to discover so that we can just release it and let it go and tell it, you're not the boss of me. You just so are not the boss of me. Whatever that is, whatever that ailment is, whether it's mental or physical or spiritual or emotional, you're not the boss of me. You don't own me. Indeed, you have really nothing to do with who I truly am. For I can, you see, when you take the power, the presence to the problem, it dissipates. We don't take our problems to the power. We take the power to the problem, dissipated in there. But we won't know that until we've tried that. And when we've tried that, we find it works. And when we find it works, we become one with the process. And we eagerly engage. We eagerly engage. You can't do this because somebody tells you, look, do this and this will work. It may or it may not. It works for them, but it may not work for you because you are your own unique individual self. But you will find with that desire, and when you study Shore, the part of the creative process begins with a desire. A desire. That's the nucleus around which energy gathers. And it unfolds a whole process until you get to the center of that nautilus, so to speak. That's what spirituality is all about. That's why we come together in spiritual community, so that we can support this in ourselves and each other, you see. But if you and I want to grow as we can, there can be no negativity attached to this. We cannot stay at the level of complaints and criticisms and at the level of judgments and beratings and all of that. That's going to stop us and block us, and that's below 200 calibrated, below 200 in vibrational energy. So now you know that you can smile at yourself as soon as you open your mouth and you want to criticize something. No, I'm not going below 200. I don't want to go below 200. I want to stay at the good level and know that there's a hope for me. I could go on and on and on. It's a class, and maybe I'll do one in that. So we must just take whatever it is that jumped out at you and work with that. And know that you're incredibly, awesomely potent, powerful, capable, and able. So this week, as we look at our perspective, we're called to rise up, get up, and embrace the true essence of your being and start living from that. Thinking from it, feeling from it, doing from it, being in it, and you'll see if the portals of heaven don't open up and shower you with more good than you can possibly cope with. But then don't take my word for it. You have to test it out and find it out for yourself, don't you? Okay, my dear hearts, Reverend Catherine's ready to come over now, and she's going to share something with us again.
This is the time in our service where we share messages from our members and friends about how we honor our mission to our members and friends, to honor your presence, to nurture your spirit, and to enrich the life of all we serve. And this is today's message. This pandemic, this time of isolation we have been in, has been a challenge to me, even though I haven't been sick, nor have I been really affected by sickness in my friends and family. I live alone, so I know the isolation has taken a toll. It's not that I ate out a lot or went that many places before, even though I miss the fact that I can't go at all. Recently, I am realizing how much I have used the alone time to reflect on my life and maybe about the sad things in my past. It may be because there's so much talk about grief and loss that I'm remembering more of that from before the pandemic. The loss of my mother and a dear cousin. I also realize that I may not have given myself time then to really think about those things at the time at a deeper level. So thank you for the opportunities and the reminders of spiritual growing.
You share with us your experiences. We love that, and we thank you for that, because your experience is not just yours. We find that many people too, like you, are experiencing the very same things. And for some people, this pandemic has proved to be a godsend, and for others, they can't wait for things to change again. And then there's all the various shades in between. But it's going to be whatever you make it. It's going to be whatever you allow it to be. And so I know there are people out there, and maybe some looking in, that are brokenhearted right now, that are grieving right now, that are scared right now. All kinds of feelings going through people at this time. And it's like this, we're in and out of all kinds of feelings. But remember, those feelings are temporary. You will feel better. You will feel better. You will get through this. And that's cold comfort, I know, because you're in the experience. But we are here and we are praying you up. We are keeping you so close. You have no idea in prayerfulness. We are knowing for you what you cannot know for yourself yet. We're knowing it for you. We're your cheerleaders, and we know that all of us can do this. And we'll all come through it blessed in some way or another. And at the end of it, we'll all be the better for it. And we're not going back to what it used to be either. We're going to go forward into better, into better. Everything wasn't perfect before the pandemic. We want to go forward and be better than ever we were before, and learn from the experience and not waste what we have learned. So hang in there, hang in there. And when you can't do it yourself, you call us and you tell us, and we'll do it with you. We'll hold that center strong for you. But let us know. There's nothing we can do if you don't let us know. And soon we'll be back together in community, even if it is a community with a difference to begin with, when we have our soft opening in July. And so, dear hearts, keep chins up, keep spirits high, and keep plugging away at it. And when you're dragging, still drag yourself with that knowingness, this too is passing. And I am blessed as a result of it, okay? And now we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate our fullness and our plenty. We are going to take our daily loaf of bread each day and bless that daily loaf of bread. And some days it's going to be bigger than others, smaller than others. And someday we may only have a few crumbs, but nevertheless it's bread. And we know that it's like leaven. It will grow and it will expand, provided I'm willing to share 2 crumbs from the crumbs that I have in my hands. Because that's how we sow. We sow seeds in order to reap a harvest. So we're thankful that we have enough daily bread to be able to share and make a difference in the lives of others. So we take our gift in our blessing hands and we say, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is. And now it's time to pray together. And I love it when we pray together. So we're going to pray today for peace on earth, and especially in the Middle East, and especially in Israel, and especially between the 2 communities in that great land, so that somehow or another, unsure of it as human beings are, Spirit is certain that this can be so, that enemies can become friends. It's happened all throughout history, and why wouldn't it happen today? So let's know, for all concerned in that disruption in the Middle East. And wherever there is disruption in our world, and there's a disruption in all pockets, lots of people in our world, so many people, you couldn't believe it, are living uncertain lives, insecure lives, fearful lives, because they don't know if they can keep their family safe. They don't know if they'll have a roof over their heads tomorrow. They don't know if even they'll be alive tomorrow. So let's not take for granted what we're enjoying here. We are a pampered race. There's no doubt about it. So let's keep them close, those mothers, those fathers, those children on both sides. And that's the problem, duality, sides, separation, human constructed differences. So we're praying that all hearts and all minds who are caught up in conflict will be tenderized, will be turned in toward the true essence of their being, and understand we're here to love each other, understand each other, and serve each other. And so we pray. I know divine love enfolds me, divine light leads me, divine life lives in me, divine wisdom inspires me, divine compassion expresses through me, and divine power protects me. All that I am in Spirit's life and expression. It is good and very good. With deep joy and generosity filling me, I go forward now in sacred service, supporting a compassionate world that works for every person, place, and thing in a way that causes all to flourish and thrive. I move through my days with grace and ease and peace and love and health and wellness, in fullness and plenty, in loving relationship with all. What I now know for myself with blessing and in deep gratitude, I know for all life. There's only God, there's only God, there's only God, and that God must show up by means of you and me for it to be experienced. There is no other way on this plane. Let God be God by means of you. And so until we meet again, dear hearts, just know that you're always in our minds and hearts here. We're always endeavoring to meet needs as best as we can, and we're so looking forward to when we can be in community together again. So take care of yourselves, honor yourself, love yourself, and know that Spirit dwells in you as you. How wonderful is that? Not even as wonderful as you are. So until we meet again, as the children would leave you, mwah, mwah, mwah. And so it is. Stay tuned in, everybody. Peace song.